Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hall Wines Happy Hour. My name is Kathryn Hall. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you especially to the first responders for all you have done for the past many months to sacrifice and make our lives more comfortable and safer. We will be drinking today two wonderful Cabernets. And if you want to buy either of these or actually any of the wines that we have on our happy hour set, you can do that up until till Sunday of this week. They will be there with a 20% off. And if you buy 3 bottles or more, we can ship them to you for $1. In addition, I want to remind everybody that on Saturday, tomorrow, is our Cabernet Cook-Off, and this is our charity event that's been going on for 11 years with you. We have all together raised well over $1 million for a variety of charities. This year it's going to be virtual, and so the charities that are benefited are all across the United States. It's really going to be lots of fun. So check us out online and come join us tomorrow and sip some wine with us and watch the chefs decide which Cabernet pairing they like the best. So today our program is really, really exciting. I'm very honored that we have the guest that we have today. It's Justin Gatlin. He is a 5-time Olympic medalist. He holds the gold medal for the 100-meter dash. He is the top U.S. track athlete. He's just a really amazing guy and very fun, and I am very excited to bring him on. We're going to be talking today. Our topic is going for gold, and who better to do that with than Justin Gatlin. And we're going to just get a chance to see what it's like to be at the top of your field and what you have to go through to get there and what it's like as you stay there. So let's bring on Justin Gatlin. Justin, are you there? Hey!
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm so glad it's the weekend. I can tell you that.
I'll bet. So are your weekends different than your weekdays? Do you sort of train less on the weekends, or do you just train every day?
Yeah, my weekends are very slow, so I try to crawl out of bed. I try to walk slow. I try to sit as much as possible because during the week, I'm always going, and physically just taxing and draining, especially with this heat here in Florida.
Yeah. And I imagine, so you are working out all the time and your regimen is very strict, probably.
It
I hope
is, yeah.
I hope it's not too strict to have a glass of wine. Can we share the first of our 2 wines today?
This will be my cheat meal. So yes, we can we can have 2 glasses of wine together.
Okay, I love it. All right. So this is our first wine, and through the magic of the internet, I am just going to pass this bottle to you. You got it there.
Got it.
Great.
There it is.
So let's pour ourselves a glass, and I think that's an important way to start off a tasting. Okay, here begins your cheat weekend here. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. So this wine, I wanted to taste this wine with you, Justin, because for a lot of reasons. One is I really like this wine, but also I think there is a lot about this wine that reminds me of you, the you I've gotten to know just by following you on Instagram. And that is, there's a lot of work that goes into this vineyard. Let me show you the vineyard that a wine comes from. Really says a lot about how the wine is. And I have a picture here I wanted to show of the vineyard that this comes from. I think is we're going to bring that up, and here it is.
Okay.
Coming up. Yeah, can you see and hear all those rocks in the front? I mean, this is really, it's a very, very tough vineyard. It's just, Well, the name is Terra Seca, which means, I don't know, in some language it means dry earth. And it's this area is very dry. It's very rocky. For the vines to make it and the grapes to grow here, they really, really have to struggle. And what they end up producing is this wine that has just lots of power and lots of flavor. So,
It does.
um,
I
so
can
let's.
definitely tell in this sip that I have that is very strong, a very strong wine.
It's got a lot of always this vineyard always gives us just a lot of these sort of dark berry flavors and just lots and lots of power in the wine, you know, which I think is really, I've always felt that was very interesting, that how a vineyard is so reflective of in the wine, how the wine that comes off of the vineyard sort of reflects the qualities that it does. So anyway,
So that make it, the earth being so dry and tough in the environment, it makes the grapes more. It makes them stronger, right? Is that
yeah,
why?
it makes them sturdier. It makes them sturdier, and it makes them smaller. And when the grapes are smaller, then they end up making a wine that has just like more fruitiness in it, more sort of denser flavor, more flavor. Exactly.
Okay.
Which
I'm thinking about the grocery store. I'm thinking about seeing grapes in the grocery store and seeing the different sizes now. But obviously, yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting. If you say you take a grape and if you ever had, you're only going to do this if you have absolutely nothing else to do. But if you peel the grape, a red grape, for example, if you take the skin off of it, the meat of the grape actually has no color. So all of the color and really all of the flavor comes from the skin or the seed off when you're making a wine or any kind of juice out of grapes. So it's not really from that sort of sweet, clear liquid that's in the middle.
Wow. Okay. I did
Yeah.
not. Wow.
Yeah. So, okay. So now I have a question that I have so many questions to ask you, but you are a 5-time award medalist. So I have this question just between you and me and the thousands of people who are going to see this. Do you ever just sort of put all 5 medals on and just sort of walk around and enjoy it?
Oh, Kathryn. Yeah.
Come on. Come.
It's been times where I wanted to wear my medal to the club. You know what? You know when athletes really do that? It's definitely after the Olympics when they're celebrating with all the athletes of different sports or come to celebrate at one venue because it's a party for the athletes. All the athletes are wearing their gold medals. They have their trophies. So it looks just like that, what you're thinking. Everyone's partying, having a great time, socializing, and these big, clunky medals are hanging around their neck. So that's one of the few times I have worn my medal just because I can just wear the medal. Yeah.
That is so cool. So I happen to know that you have some medals there in your nearby, which
I do.
would you mind just sort of sharing those? I just we had a chance, or is that going to be too complicated to move around?
No, not at all. See right here, that's my jersey, my uniform. It's a top and a bottom together, and it has my name. That was with my last World Championships that I won gold. Right behind me, you can see a lot of the medals that I have.
That little old thing. Are those the medals? Oh, those are the Olympic medals at the bottom. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, those are the Olympic medals at the bottom. So we have London, we have Brazil, we have also Greece down there, Athens, and we have a couple of World Championship medals as well over there. And middle row is my Diamond League trophies. That's what we run every year. You have to be the most outstanding sprinter or whatever your discipline is to have these trophies. And I have that big gold one in the middle. It looks like Wimbledon. It is my Athlete of the Year trophy that I won, and these are the Crystal Shoe trophies that we have at the top right there. So those are a couple of things. I have things spread out like the Wheaties box that I was on, the SB Award. So I love. That's one of the things that motivates me is not only celebrating and having a great time after winning, but also getting the trophies and bringing them home, especially to my son.
Really? Oh, I love that. So your son, is your son really proud of you?
He is. He's very proud of me. He's so proud. He said, "You know what? I will not run track because I don't want to go out there and beat you, Dad." That's what he said. So I'm so proud of you.
Well, he's got that competitive spirit then. I mean, and that he will like temper it against you, but um, I don't know, maybe it's in his genes. Were you just born competitive, Justin?
I was. I think that part of it was I was a fast guy. I had fast twitch fibers, and I also was very competitive. So I loved running and jumping and seeing if I can jump over this gate or that gate, or or beating my childhood friends, in the neighborhood. Even when they're on bikes, I was on foot and still beating them. So it was fun. It was fun just to testing my own limits and see how far I could go.
Shoot. And then, so when you compete, are you are you like are you then competing against yourself? Like when you talk about testing your own limits, is the competition against yourself, or is the competition against the other people who are your sort of, well, who are on bikes or you're running against, or
Well, I
maybe
mean, on the professional realm, you have to think that competition comes from all angles because you're competing against seven other guys, that you're lining up against shoulder to shoulder with. You're also competing against time, so you want to be able to have the fastest time, and sometimes to break records, you have to be able to compete against time. And you're competing against the environment, so everything around you is going to distract you in some way, some form. It might be somebody yelling in the stands. It might be someone on the infield throwing or competing. The crowd is cheering for them, so you have to compete against everything around you. So it gets intense.
so when you're running, what are you focusing on? For example, and I'm also just wondering if when you're the first time, I'll take that, the first time you got an Olympic medal, and you're running, it was, I don't know if it was the 100 or the 200 or whatever it was, that race, were you did you know you were going to win? Did you have a feeling that you were winning as you were doing it, or do you even think about that when you're running? What do you think?
Well, for me, yeah, I mean, when you're competing and you're competing at a level that you're confident at and you know that you're in shape, running becomes instinctual. It's like blinking or breathing. So you go through your different phases of your races and you're just thinking about the motion. You're not thinking about the competition around you. You're not thinking about time. You're just thinking about kind of like flowing, like that. It's like that feeling you have that when you take that last sip out of the glass of wine, you can feel the warmth come on. That's exactly what it feels like. But my first time ever running, and the first couple of times when I started, I was younger, and I would just think about tunnel vision, being focused, and just trying to be the best and just run out of my skin. So over time, I've learned that it's about being precise, having certain angles. Science comes into play now. So I'm able to chill a little bit, sip on some wine, and study form, and be able to apply that to the track now.
Oh, wow. Well, I think that we when we are making wine, we have competitions too, in our business. But the business, it's a much sort of more subjective type of evaluation. So it's not like a clock that we're running against, or there's not somebody who's taking your, I don't know, some other guy on the lineup next to you that you are beating. It's sort of, there's a critic out there, and the critic takes your wine and tastes it, and then they give you a score. And then so 5 times we've had 100-point scores, which is the highest you can get for the wines. But there's a difference in our business anyway when it's certainly the top standard of excellence when you're compared against other wines in the world. People talk about scores a lot, but it really is about the pride of doing it. I just think because the evaluation you have has something to do with the mood of the critic when he was or what he was doing, what he had for breakfast that morning, or a variety of other things. We've made wines that we thought were better than the wines that we got 100 points on, but we didn't get 100 points on them. So for us, it's very hard to get that measure. And I would think it would be a real joy to be able to it's very simple to have someone say, you won or you didn't win.
Yeah, I totally I can understand that. I mean, mine's a little more clear cut. Is you win or you don't win, But what you create is you literally create art. Like you make a wine that is pleasing to the palate in a unique way, and that's beautiful. I like that. I mean, no matter being judged, I mean, obviously you cannot shake a stick at 100 points. That's like having 5 gold medals in the Olympics. So to be able to have that and be able to do that, that's amazing within itself.
Okay, nice of you to say. But actually, since you bring up art, I know I've heard you say in public fora that running is an art, and I'd love you to talk about that a bit. In what way is that?
Well, I mean, I was speaking earlier about runner's high. And runner's high is a level where you kind of meet adrenaline and fatigue. And then you have this euphoric state where you're kind of floating along and it's become effortless. It feels like that, like art in motion. When you are feeling at your top game, your start from the blocks is amazing. Your angles are on point. You just exude confidence. You know that you look good, you feel good. And once you get going, you're in sync with like your breathing, you're in sync with your heartbeat. You're not like, you're not trying to run just to compete and just be out there. You're really trying to make something that people in the stands are going to be in awe about. That's art. I feel like that's art in motion.
Whoa, it is art in motion. And that's, that's not a feeling that it's hard for me to sort of imagine that feeling, but I can see that that's what would make me think that if you are running a race and you are going to win, you sort of feel like you're winning it. Let me ask this question a different way. Have you ever entered a race where you just didn't feel things were right, or you didn't feel you were going to win?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's a very rare moment, but Kathryn, it's the most scariest feeling ever, because you're going into competition. You're in a stadium full of people, 50,000 plus people. They come to see you run, and just something in you just feels a little bit off, and the gun goes off, and you're hesitating. You're thinking too much while you have to run all this in 9 seconds. So you can imagine that, if you feel off, it's a bad feeling. It's not a good thing.
Yeah. I also, by the way, cannot imagine you train for years and years for 9 seconds. I mean, that's crazy.
Yes. Less than a moment in time. That's going to be defined.
Yeah. So, well, how about your family? Were they always, when you were growing up, did your family always sort of support you? I mean, clearly they recognize that you're the fastest kid on the block, but were they there? Did they give you support?
That's funny because growing up and when I found track and field as an organized sport, it didn't match my personality in the house. I would always move around very slow and laxadays. My mom said, "What are you back there? You up there stealing from my wine?" That's what my mom would always say, because I would never get nothing done very fast. But when I brought home my jersey for making the track team for the first time, they laughed at me until the moment they saw me run. And then that moment, they became my biggest fans.
Oh my gosh. So how old were you then?
I was a freshman in high school. So yeah, I was like 15, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's just totally amazing.
I have a question.
Yes.
I hear about the prestige of Napa all the time. What makes Napa what sets Napa apart from other, vineyards around the world, or places where they grow wine around the world?
Well, I think it's the uniqueness. It is special. I think there are many areas in the world that make beautiful wine. Italy, that I've heard you mention before, makes some beautiful wines. France makes some beautiful wines as well. I think that what we can do in Napa is really unique. That is really unique, is that we have this combination of wonderful terroir, wonderful soil types with hillsides that are quite varied. And so you can produce a bunch of different styles of wines, but you combine those different soil types with the California sun, which is, I know you're in Florida. You also have a lot of sun down there. And what sun does, it enables you to get really a lovely ripeness on the fruit. So we can make wines that have beautiful ripeness, sort of sweetness on the palate, like this wine, the Terra Secca we've been drinking, I think has this really lush quality of dark berry on it. And that really is a wine, for me, that's identifiable clearly as a Napa Valley wine. And it's because the soil is tough. It's, I think of the word grit, which I've heard you use before, is how important there's a lot of grit there for a grape to grasp in order to grow. And yet you have the sun that enables the grapes, once they survive, to ripen in a beautiful way.
Okay.
So, yeah, so every vineyard is really different, and the wines that come off of these vineyards are really different. Actually, this would be why we've got a second wine that is also wonderful, and it's also a Cabernet, but it comes from a different site. And I think let's try that. And I think you put the two wines together, and I think the comparison becomes a little more clear, how the terroir, the dirt, and of a vineyard affects the wine itself. Okay.
So you pour it first, and then pass the bottle over to me.
Sounds good to me. Okay. And by the way, I just like to point out that this, you've got your medals. This is called Kathryn Hall, tricky little name, which I love. So, and this wine actually, we get a lot of awards off of this wine. And this particular vineyard that this comes from is one of the vineyards we've had 2 100-point wines from. So, Kathryn Hall, and I'm going to, am I doing? Yes, I did, pass.
Yes, you did. I got it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know if I was passing it the right way or not, so I'm glad I got it. So these are the things, when you're locked up.
First of all, I must say, having your own wine, I pretend that, the brand Justin is mine. I tell that to people all the time, randomly. But to have this wine like this is amazing. This is amazing.
Well, it is, and it's a nice wine too. I hope you like it.
Well, I mean, and you have the gold writing, so it's definitely a fitting.
Yeah, totally.
You. Definitely. Cheers.
Cheers to you. Yay. Okay, so
I love this.
Do you?
What?
Woohoo! Isn't it nice?
I love this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so can you see it's different. I mean, it's a Cabernet, but there's differences between these two wines, and yet they're the same vintage. They're less than a mile apart in terms of where the vineyards are.
I love the fact that when you taste it, it hits strong, but then it smooths out. I love that.
Thank you. So let me show you this vineyard. I've got a picture of this vineyard here. This is from the Stackershea vineyard. Okay, so here this is this vineyard, and as you can, well, I don't know how visible this is in the vineyard, but this is actually my backyard, by the way. Isn't that gorgeous? I live on this vineyard. So
that's amazing. That's life goals right there. That's on my bucket list.
What?
I said that's on my bucket list to be able to live in a vineyard. That's amazing.
Come on, we'll talk. Yeah. So anyway, and by the way, and this is sort of my little running area around the perimeter of that vineyard is my sort of home little course where I run. So anyway, the thing about this vineyard, it's hillside, just like the Terra Seca vineyard was, but the soil is not rocky. It's much gentler. It's not plush soil by any means, but it's a volcanic ash type soil. So the vines still have to struggle, but not to the same extent that they have to struggle when they have to work around rocks in order to be able to live and to survive. And then also, if you just sort of look at the terrain of the vineyard, it's just more gentle, has more gentle rolling, a more gentle rolling terrain off of it. So for me, I just think it's amazing to see these parallels. But the fact is that the wine that comes off of this vineyard tends to be it's intense. It has a lot of flavor in it. It's got a lot of fruit on it, but the fruit is softer. It's just, it's plush. It's more plush. It's just, it's in a sense a little more feminine in style. Whereas for me, the other wine had more sort of grit, had more power. This is a powerful taste in the sense that it's dense to me, but it doesn't have there's a little more of an elegance about it.
Yeah, it is. I can see the difference in the two for sure. You definitely save the best for last. And so the soil really determines how the grape really grows. It's not even necessarily totally like what people would think, like the weather itself, but the soil is what makes the grape stronger or more smoother.
It's very much the soil, but really the weather matters too. The sun is important because the more sun you have, the sort of riper grapes or the riper fruit quality you can get in the grapes. If it's a hillside, the wine's going to be a little more complex just because it has to struggle a little bit more. That's such a comparison, I think, between your world and mine, because a grape that has to struggle, whether it's struggling to get around a rock, whether it's struggling to go find soil, it all is very reflective of what that vineyard is like. So you are right, it is mostly soil, but it is largely other factors too, like sun and wind. Wind can affect it as well.
So I have a question. What's the difference between the white grapes and the red grapes? I took a trip to South Africa, and they were telling me that it has something to do also with the coastline. White grapes grow better near the coast compared to red grapes. So maybe you can teach me a little bit about that.
You're exactly right. White grapes like to grow closer to the ocean or closer to water because they like a cooler climate. And so we make Chardonnay, for example, and Chardonnays, it's under another brand called Walt, but Chardonnay likes to grow closer to the ocean where you have there's a lot of ocean breeze that cools it, because a Chardonnay grape, this white grape, likes to take longer to ripen, whereas a Cabernet grape responds more to heat. So there are people who like to grow Chardonnays, for example, in Napa Valley. I'm not one of them. I really prefer Chardonnays, like whoever was advising me there about South Africa. I prefer the white wines that are grown closer to the coast. And just for that reason, it's partly soil, because you get this sort of sea-type soil, sedimentary soil, but you also get this really cooling influence that comes off of any body of water. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, anyway, so there's that. So Now, uh, you've been asking me questions, which I love, and don't stop. But I'm thinking I have this sort of, for me, chance of a lifetime. I love to run. There's, I can do it anywhere. All you have to do is have shoes. Um, you can I've never had anybody sort of give me advice about what makes a good runner. And I thought, here I am with a Olympian, gold medal winner. This is my chance. I'm going to ask you about what I can do, because I've gotten my endurance better. I
Okay.
can go for longer periods, but my speed is honestly abysmal. I mean, just awful. So I I found a little video of myself on a treadmill. Okay. I don't know what you can tell here, but here I am. Wait a minute. I'm much
Okay.
faster than that.
I
That
can
does
see
not,
you.
I'm faster than that. I promise you. But anyway,
Well,
here it
first
is.
of all, you're in great shape already. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. We're gonna make it better.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Um,
I
yeah.
want to rerun that. I tell you, I was faster. Yeah. So, so really,
Yeah. I
when
mean,
you,
you
when
look.
you work on your
Let's check it
speed,
out. See, let's look.
oh yeah. You know what?
I
They're
like seeing
playing
your
with me.
arms
They're
up a
playing
little
with me
higher.
slower.
If you can bring your arms up a little higher,
Okay.
then I think you'll get a little more knee lift also, which will help you go longer, go faster, and you won't even, it just feels like your body just taking control and you're just running. You're like, whoa. So you got to think whatever your arms do, your legs have to do. So if you're running closer down here, then your knees are going to be down there as well. But if you're bringing your arms up higher, your knee has to come higher too. So it's always going to mirror whatever your arms do. That's a lot of people don't realize that. So you see a lot of runners running like this in marathons or sprints, or running like this, or they think that's gonna make them faster if they don't swing all the way through. But you want to swing higher and you want to get that full range of motion, because that is what generates force, which also equals speed. So it's all kind of an equation. So, and you use less energy too.
So does that mean that you are making, does that make your stride longer? Is that what
Um,
you, no.
not by much.
Oh,
I
by
mean,
the way,
because
I've got
really
to say,
it's
I've
about
watched
your
you
lower
run.
leg. Whatever your lower leg does. If your lower leg goes out, then you'll overstride. But if you just pick your knee up and you just put it right back down, you're not really overstriding. You're just generating more power into the ground, which will propel you forward.
Whoa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is great. Okay, interview over. I'm done. No, that is so good. I really
Back to
appreciate
the
it.
treadmill.
No, but I actually, I gotta say, when I watch you run, and like all the world, I've seen you run, and it's like your stride. My goodness, I don't know how big it is, but it is like, you know, half the room I'm in. It's pretty amazing to me. Yeah.
You usually, as an Olympic sprinter, you're covering about 2.5 meters. You know, as you fly down the track. So it's like almost like if you do it at a standing point instead of running, it's almost like a leap. Like almost, remember you used to play hopscotch? It's like you're
Yeah.
leaping. So that's exactly what it looks like when Olympic sprinters running on the track. It's like you see a lot of photos of them with both feet off the ground because it looks like they're flying or gliding. It's because you're generating
Right.
so much force it propels you forward.
Whoa. Hmm. Okay. I feel like I must let somebody here who's been asking questions uh, about, where is this? Oh, here's a question that somebody, I want to give other people a little bit of a chance, although, because I've been hogging all these questions. We had a question that from Allie, who says, is the runner's high a real thing?
Yes, it is. It's actually where adrenaline and fatigue meet. So you get a feeling where you start getting to a point where you're getting too tired, and they call it breaking the wall down. It's either you break through the wall and you keep on running, you get that runner's high, or either you don't break through the wall and you start shutting down. And in the track world, we either call it a bear on your back. So it's like you feel like you're just going down to the ground. So runner's high actually is something that really does happen, and a lot of runners actually seek that. That's what they want to kind of run off of.
Huh. Justin, I have to say, this has just been such a special opportunity for me to have a conversation with you. And I just know that everybody who's had a chance to listen to you is very happy that they did. I thank you so much. We didn't even talk about 2021 in Tokyo. Go.
Stay tuned. We'll be there in Tokyo, and we'll have a glass of wine. Hopefully, this one right here that will be there with me celebrating. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys.
I can guarantee that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Justin, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining. Is he not just inspirational and wonderful? I had a great time, and I hope you did as well. So remember, join us tomorrow afternoon for the Cabernet Cook-Off. This is our 11th year of doing this. It's been changed a bit because we are now on, we had to do it virtually, but it's going to be so much fun. We've got great contestants and great charities from all across the United States. So you can come on, you can vote, and it will be fabulous. And then I'll be back next week. All of us, from Jennifer from Baca Wines, Jeff from Walt Wines, and I will all be back next week. We'll be on Instagram Live, and then we'll be back on Friday on Facebook Live. So to you all, thank you very, very much for joining us, and stay healthy, stay safe, and sip up.